Ah, yes, the sweet, sweet smell of One Piece. Nothing more refreshing than waking up in the morning realizing you don't have to fit 27 chapters of content somehow into a single video within a week. I'm eating good tonight, boys. I'm eating good. Loguetown is an arc that I'm a little intrigued by because it's just 5 chapters in length from chapter 96 to 100, and in the anime episode 45 and 48 to 53. Not sure why there's a gap there. So it's very short comparing it to literally every arc besides Romance Dawn. Though, coming after Arlong Park, this is the arc I'm most excited for because I want to see what the Straw Hats are up to after defeating Arlong and freeing Kokoyashi Village. Funnily enough, I'd compare the feeling to like being excited for a new season premiere of like, let's say, Breaking Bad Season 5 after Season 4 ended. So, let's jump in. This is my blind review of Loguetown. But, maybe you didn't notice? You haven't? Well, yes! This channel is currently still on YouTube, as for some reason, maybe through sheer, I guess, sexiness alone, I've been able to avoid termination. Turns out that those stocky legs work pretty good when running. So be sure to become a Patreon, where you'll get access to content 3 videos in advance, and also help my mental stability once Toei Animation comes by and decides I'm public enemy number 1, when in reality I'm just a guy with stocky legs. We start this arc on The Going Merry. Nami is giving a bird the look because there has been a price increase in the newspapers as of late. This prompts Usopp to ask why she cares. She's not about saving money anymore anyways, which, god damn it, Usopp. God damn it, Usopp. So she explains that she's now saving for herself, as before it was all about saving for Arlong to save her village. So now she's trying her best to be an adult like the rest of us, putting at least 10% from every paycheck into savings. Though Nami's not the only one who is getting a good thing going. Usopp as well has developed a new technique called a Tabasco Star, which renders the person useless, just like Usopp, as Luffy knocks the Tabasco Star into his eye, causing a small house fire in his skull. Gotta say, hey, that was effective as he said it was, to be fair. Though, Luffy wants some of Nami's oranges, to which Sanji refuses, guarding it with a defense that is powered by Nami's love, to which, and I love this, Nami's like, okay Sanji, thanks buddy. Total friend zone Sanji is. Dude has no shot with Nami. Unlike me. I also thought it was great Zoro called Sanji a tool, which, I mean, I'd use a different word. Starts with a s and ends with an imp. Though, in terms of world building, we got a really interesting tidbit from the paper Nami is reading. Turns out there was another coup d'etat in Villa. So, what's Villa? Also, it seems Villa is clearly in constant turmoil, as it seems this is not the first coup d'etat that they have experienced. My bet is that one of the next villains we'll be encountering will most likely be one behind this coup d'etat, but then again, my middle name is also obvious. On the flip side, at the Marine HQ, it turns out they are in this capacity unable to deal with the Straw Hats who have taken down Buggy, Krieg, and Arlong, all having bounties 15 million bellion up. So by doing this, in East Blue, they have earned the labels of top dogs, as on average, in East Blue, the bounties are around 3 million belly. So in turn, they've earned a bounty of 30 million, which is 10 million belly more than Arlong's bounty. Though, I think something even more interesting is going on in the Marine HQ, something a little bit more sinister, perhaps? One of the commanders basically tells the Marines that is under his command if they want to flee now, they should. And we get a couple of panels showing the Marines there having clear body language that shouts red flags at the reader. He then goes on to say that it is no crime for the masses to be weak, and as long as there is evil, there is a purpose for the Marines, while shouting down to them as if he's Qin Shin Huang. Then he says something key. This is also under the name of absolute justice. And I don't know if you've read the manga series known as The Star Wars, but only Sith deal in absolutes, which makes me think that the Marines aren't a source of justice, they're most likely a source of crime and oppression. Taking context clues as well, how many good Marines have we met so far in this series? Because from my experience, they all seem kind of corrupt to some degree. At least so far, whether it's through corruption, nepotism, or just sheer evil, the Marines are clearly not as good as they present themselves to be, and due to that, I feel like there's something afoot. Luffy, on the other hand, takes his 30 million belly bounty in stride as he laughs it off as if it's nothing. Not only are the Marines out trying to track them down, but as well, bounty hunters in East Blue are going to be out trying to take them out as well. So Nami realizes they need to get out of the East Blue. The quicker, the better. And they know they're close to entering the Grand Line because they spot an island holding the titular Loguetown, famous for being the place that Gold Roger, the former holder of the One Piece, was birthed and executed. Due to this, though, the town is now known as the Town of the Beginning and the End. So the Straw Hats head on over, and they all do something which fits their character pretty much immediately. Luffy wants to see where Gold Roger was executed, Sanji wants to buy some ingredients, Usopp wants to buy equipment, and Nami wants to lend Zoro some money with 300% interest. What a steal! I didn't know Nami was a cash for loan. While Zoro is out, he overhears a spat. Apparently, a woman has landed a group of thugs' bosses in prison, and they interestingly describe this person as a monster. Interesting indeed. But in the fight, she loses her glasses, so Zoro gives them back, and when he sees her face, he immediately likes this girl because it's Zoro. He's incredibly dense because of course he is. Though, on a certain island, we see Captain Dracul Mihawk. I love saying that. He is handed the wanted poster for Luffy and in a surprise twist, hands it to Captain of the red-haired pirates, Red-Haired Shanks, simply saying, "You've come at last, Luffy." It's probably not the way he sounded in the anime. But, hey, I'm free for bookings. First of all, the way this was colored was incredible, with everyone being silhouetted, giving them this air of importance around them, which I adored. Though, we don't see too much, as they move on pretty quickly. While that was happening, we do see Nami dress up, and she's looking fire as always, right fellas? Despite how well they looked on her though, she prefers some more casual clothes, which is smart and good for her wallet. We also see Luffy having out-of-body experience just being able to see the place Gold Roger was executed, showing how important and really sacred this place is to him, almost as if it is some sort of hallowed grounds. But, interestingly enough, we are treated to a moment with Zoro, who wants to purchase a couple of swords from Ippon Matsu, an arm shop owner. He simply hands the storekeep 100,000 belly and asks for 2 swords. Pretty straightforward, though Ippon sees the sword on Zoro's hip and immediately wants to buy it from him. Turns out, the sword is none other than Wado Ichimonji, one of the 21 great grade swords. And our swordswoman from earlier is the one who catches that. She then says to Zoro that he reminds her of a certain man with a bounty on his head that carries 3 swords. And she believes that this man in particular, who only sees a sword as a tool to make money, is unforgivable because she appreciates the craftsmanship of a sword and the skill it takes to produce one and learn the craft of just being a swordsman. Then the storekeep mentions how hard it is to make ends meet because of the monster that's now in charge of Loguetown, and even more surprising, he's a devil fruit user. As well, we get a huge tidbit of world building from the Lady Swordsman, as she says she will do anything to risk her life to retrieve all of the masterwork blades, which are, in order, 12 Supreme Grade Swords, 21 Great Grade Swords, and the 50 Skillful Grade Swords. Though she doesn't want the swords themselves, just that the swords be out of the hands of evildoers. She then tells Zoro to buy a sword called Sandai Kitetsu, which normally sells for 1 million belly, and its predecessor, Nidai Kitetsu, is one of the great grade swords, while Shodai Kitetsu is one of the supreme grade swords. Turns out though that the Kitetsu swords are also cursed. Many wielders of the Kitetsu family of swords have suffered tragic deaths after wielding them. Because of this, swordsmen avoid using the Kitetsu swords. So then Zoro takes the sword, says that he's going to test who is stronger, his luck or the sword's cursed. And so he tosses the blade up, holds out his arm, and the blade misses his arm completely. And in the background, you hear a bunch of girls screaming, "Me! Pick me! Pick me, Zoro! Me!" Though interestingly enough, Afterwards, Ippon also gives Zoro a sword called the Yuba Shiri, one of the 50 skillful grade swords, which is also coincidentally the best sword that they have. While the rest of the Straw Hats are out purchasing and buying for the Going Merry and the crew, Sanji notices a lady, and a very beautiful one in fact. Though I've gotta say, I wonder if Nami throughout the series will wear all of the clothes she's bought here. Well, we do have a little over 900 chapters until we catch up, so I suppose we've got the time. I'll keep an eye out. Speaking of keeping an eye out, though, it turns out that Luffy, while on top of Gold Roger's execution stand of all places, is interrupted by the pretty lady, who is Alvida? That's Alvida. Her, one of the best looking women in this series I've seen yet is Alvida? Huh? Even Luffy is like, dog, who the hell are you? Even better, Alvida sort of hits on him, I guess? As she only likes strong men, and thus Alvilda will make Luffy her last man. So Luffy tells her to shut up and that she's annoying, which, yeah, Luffy sort of does play hard to get, I guess. So, but after that, there's a fountain explosion, and we're also reintroduced to Buggy the goddamn clown? So, yeah. Turns out, this is where the cover stories come into play, which I'd love to dive into here, but I'm 6 pages into a 7-page script, so I just don't have the time. But if you want a video on that, drop a like and subscribe and ring the bell. Otherwise, the gist of it, so you guys understand, is that Buggy and Alvida joined forces to take down Luffy. Alvida ate a devil fruit, and Buggy went on an adventure of sorts to get back his missing limbs. Almost being cannibalized at one point, no less, but hey, he's got Alvida now. And Alvida about to make me misbehave the way things have been going for her lately. So, all around a W for Buggy. Good for him. Turns out that the devil fruit that Alvida ate was called the Smooth Devil Fruit, which is aptly named because not only did it make, as at least Alvida says, no difference to her beauty, it absolutely did, and it means also as well that no attack can do any sort of damage to her skin. Though Buggy and Alvida aren't the only ones to return. Turns out Kabaji is back as well, looking for vengeance against Zoro and traps Luffy. Though while this is happening, Captain Smoker is warned of a disturbance in the city, which leads us to our first look of Captain Smoker, who smokes not 1, but 2 cigars, probably buzzed off his ass. Though, he's got a really cool design with his jacket. I must admit the 2 cigars are kinda awesome. Don't smoke, kids. So as Smoker the White Hunter makes his way into the city center, we are introduced to his Sergeant Major, none other than the swordswoman who met Zoro, Tashigi. She cute. Though as for Buggy, he sentences Luffy to death via flashy execution. Reasoning? Making Buggy mad. Well, I gotta say, Oda is sort of a troll in this chapter too, because he titles this chapter Luffy Dies. We'll see, Oda. We'll see. So, the Straw Hats now heading to save Luffy split up. Zoro and Sanji to rescue Luffy, and Nami and Usopp to ready the ship, all the while Nami detects a storm approaching the island. But things are about to get a little ridiculous. But in a good way. At the execution site, Buggy goes to execute Luffy, and as Zoro and Sanji arrive, he bids them adieu, and rather shockingly is smiling? As Buggy's sword comes down to execute him. Though shockingly, pun 100% intended, chooms, Buggy's blade is struck by the lightning, saving Luffy from execution and shattering Buggy in the process, at least his ego. Though I'm not convinced this is some divine intervention either. In fact, I wonder if there is someone who can control the weather that saw this. I don't know. Just a theory, but One Piece has taught me to be OCD about literally anything in the story. We shall see. As the chapter comes to a close, we still have to talk about Captain Smoker, who, while Buggy and Alvida are causing havoc, Smoker decides to take the approach of letting the pirates kill each other, because doing so would be less work for them. So, after Luffy is beheaded, only then would they intervene. Then they also get word that Zoro is in town, and not only that, he's a member of the Straw Hats. After Luffy is saved by divine intervention, Smoker questions why he smiled as he was being executed, coming to terms with his life and death in a near instant. Then he says something chilling. He smiles in the exact same way that Gold Roger did when he was executed, though even Smoker has the same questions I do, as he is informed that the weather itself is making their escape easier. So he vows to never let Luffy escape, suggesting he's going to be the one to hunt for him from here on out. This adds a lot of tension in the background, as it seems while the Marines and bounty hunters are after the Straw Hats, even Captain Smoker is as well going along with Tashigi. Though I can't help but to theorize that Smoker isn't going to be so antagonistic as even he seems to suggest. This is because Tashigi's interactions with Zoro makes me think that there is no way that she would agree with what people have said about Zoro and his reputation, which is clearly Marine propaganda. Then, as well, we have Smoker, who seems like a much better person than any Marine captain we've seen thus far, making me think that him allowing Luffy to die is just a red herring of sorts for the way he acts now, as I believe we're going to get some sort of twist in their story along the way. Overall, I think Loguetown, despite how brief it actually is a pretty good arc. It's not the greatest thing ever, but it's a brilliant follow-up to Arlong Park that serves to build up the world of One Piece, much more than any arc has done in the past, actually, which is impressive because in just 5 chapters, or just a handful of episodes, we picked up so much more ground with the world building, and now not only does East Blue seem to be at this point conquered, but as well the Straw Hats, they're heading to a whole different world for them. It really does feel like the Straw Hats right now are currently on top, but only in so much that they're on the precipice of like leveling up to a place that's even more dangerous than ever before. Though I gotta say, I also adore the reintroduction of Buggy. I found his flashy execution was, while a failure, a very entertaining moment that was just so ridiculous and matter of fact that it almost became surreal. Like, I was that dumbfounded at what I had just read. Then, as well, Alvida, maybe a total 10 now, but still has the personality of an acorn, was just as fun as Buggy was. All around, I'm actually sort of impressed with this arc. I even like the introductions for Smoker and Tashigi, who seem like some of the only good people associated with the Marines. It also alluded to maybe, just maybe, a relationship for Zoro. And as well, the Masterwork Blades. This arc has a lot of important tidbits rather than massive bombastic story set pieces. I mean, one of the biggest moments in this arc was just a handful of panels, which was Shanks and Mihawk, which kind of sort of shows they have some sort of relationship going. I mean, this arc was deceptively really good, and for that, I gotta rank it. I think I'm giving Loguetown solid B. The reason for this is that I can really see this arc later on being an important foundation for the next saga, Arabasta. Which, speaking of, in the next video we'll be talking about our first arc in the Arabasta saga, Reverse Mountain. But before then, after the shocking, situation they're in, Buggy and Alvida try to make their escape using Bara Bara car. Whatever. I'm gonna ignore that. Anyways, it's Smoker who intervenes along with the Marines and are swiftly captured. While this is happening, Nami and Usopp are stopped by none other than Moji and Richie, who this time is sporting some twin tails? They are trying to burn down the Going Merry, but Moji and Richie once more are defeated, saving the Going Merry and making their way for their escape. Then we have an epic showdown in the rain between Zoro and Tashigi. Tashigi is mad because she's now figured out that he, all along, was Zoro and feels her trust was betrayed, and thusly tries to take back the Wado Ichimonji. And the two fight, as the others as well battle their way out. Zoro eventually corners her, and when given the chance to cut her down, he avoids doing so. This prompts Tashigi, much like Zoro's childhood friend, Kuena, to say that he shouldn't avoid killing her just because she is a woman. This annoys Zoro, who yells back, it's not her gender that bothers him, it's her existence. To be in love. They then go on to argue, which I guess is romantic for some, as Zoro says her face looks exactly like Kuena's. That's smooth, even going as far to tell her not to copy her, suggesting it was Kuena who was copying her in the first place. I guess this was cute? yeah, it's cute. This leads to Smoker eventually capturing Luffy after a pretty cool but one-sided battle of sorts. This is when the mysterious dragon intervenes, allowing Luffy and Zoro to finally escape. This obviously confuses Smoker, who replies that what reason does he have for preventing them from setting sail? Which is ultimately his reasoning. While this is happening, Tashigi vows to bring back Zoro. Oh, I'm sure, lady, Kissing or something like that. As well, though, Buggy has escaped too, and as the Straw Hats once again embark on their adventure to the Grand Line, Buggy decides as well to follow them, vowing once more to get revenge. I imagine that Buggy's arc is not one that just ends, but is something that will likely occur in the cover stories pretty much exclusively. My guess is that Buggy will be a reoccurring antagonist who pops up a couple of times in every saga to give Luffy the what's what, but will ultimately fail, or maybe, get the upper hand sometimes. As for Dragon, no idea, but I think he's probably either in Red-Haired Shank's pirate group, or he's just a drug dealer methed out on some crack, drunk on weed. That being said, what do you think? Do you agree with my theories, concerns, and criticisms of Loguetown, or do you not? Either way, let me know in the comments below. If you enjoy the One Piece content I produce, become a patron, as you'll get access to my next 3 videos on Reverse Mountain, Whiskey Peak, and Little Garden right now. Thank you for watching, and as always, this and much more next time on the Adventures of One Piece.